Even though I will potentiate what I value and I will control what I offer, I think it is of my intention to develop the kind of sameness of attitude that some of my mentors have, and to give that and practice building on that by giving it away, by not holding it for myself. I wonder what would happen if I had told myself something else, something the exact opposite, where I would take things from myself and not give. You know, only have the sense of being a parasite or being opportunistic for my own win, for my own gain, and not for the collective gain. I witnessed some things lately, just coming to the forefront of my mind. Not hearing anything different or so, just witnessing, being aware of things being different. It's the same message being produced by the media. The same message is being produced, but depending on your level of awareness, that message is understood differently. In a way, you can say the more you learn, the greater your understanding is. Or another example is, if you have ever read a book when you were little that you liked, and you liked it when you were little and you understood it, and then you came back to that book as an adult and read it again, but you understood it now, same text, same words, everything is the same, right? Just that you came to it with a deeper understanding, with a deeper awareness. So things have been different lately. I've come to see that if I allow myself the space to continually practice, to continually take care of my practice, then there is really no end. And isn't that the goal, the be-all, end-all? To find the ending right here in the present moment. Do not focus further along, because there's really no thing further. Just here, in space, in time, being aware. Now, I could have taken an understanding of this to be different, to be not really fitting for the collective. But that's not really true, is it? Because everything is fitting for the collective if you give the collective the chance to understand something. I'm part of the collective. I'm understanding things the more I stay with it, the more I'm believed in. So I should at least give that same help, the same understanding, I should give the same back. So I'm not just interacting with this. I'm finding it to be free, to give me or tell me what I am doing. It's somehow creating me. I'm being created by the actions that I take. More and more so developed. But not to arrive, because I have arrived. No, to just keep on pushing forward, not to a specific destination. It's like what people always say, it's not the result, it's the journey. It really is. Not the result, it's the journey. So, what would happen if you made yourself clear to yourself, to understand and witness, to hear about the things that make you come to be who you are, come to fall free and control what you're thinking? What type of man would you be? How would your destination come about being seen by you? Where is it? I just think that if I find it reasonable to comprehend that type of thinking that I am dealing with, the type of notion of understanding that I'm dealing with, where am I to go? Where is the collective? Am I not there? I seem to say that, okay, so I'll hold on to this thought and I won't break free from it. I'll just stay with it. Because that is what gives a great understanding of it. Giving it space to grow, giving it time to grow, and giving it care so that it does grow. And that care is given by staying present with it. Space and time you give by believing in it. So I have this mentality, this growth mentality, but not truly be present with it. Because most of us have the so-called mentality for growth. They want to grow, but at the same time they don't stay present with that feeling, with that knowing. So I'm sensing, could I come to complete the type of feeling that gives me coherence with all of these systems that are affecting me? Systems of growth that allow me to grow in different areas of my life. So I'm going to explore these more and more the further along as I go. The further along I go, I'll explore more of these. Because it's time for me to come to a great understanding of what I am learning. It wouldn't be right to just throw this away without understanding what it is. This being the abstraction of a lot of things that I have dipped my toes in. So we communicate with one another. We do. We make it apparent that we have something to say to one another. But it's usually not the deep understanding that we have. It's just shallow notions. Is it because of fear? Fear for what one might think, what one might know, what one might see from one's shadow, the other's shadow, the one that, in this instance, would be deep in their sharing of themselves. So managing to not really confuse, but design the type of attitude that holds you responsible for each and every action that you have. Being true to the sense of what you're doing is your responsibility. Noticing this within you and noticing the lack of it within others and seeing the difference, how that affects you and how it affects them, to not have this sense of responsibility within them. The powerlessness that you see within them. Because if you only look at yourself, you might not really find yourself to be powerful in this area, right? But if you look at this area and the lack of responsibility in others in this area, in comparison, you would be powerful. Deeply so. It's not because of choice, you see. I hold on to this because I want it to be true. I don't only hold on to things because I want them to be untrue. No. It's not of my mind that I'm creating this event, this horizon coming closer to me, to where I'm at. So I'm changing, seeing, being, feeling, but I'm changing, transforming into, well, we'll see, right? It's a type of metamorphosis. All I have to do is stay present. So wherever you are, stay present, because you are changing. The only thing that would hinder you from changing fast enough, it would be impossible not to change at all, but changing fast enough is to not stay present. It's like opening up different doors of perception for you to take by being present. You're aware of more things. So if you have something that you want, you can see connections to it more clear. It becomes more clear because you are present and not confused by all of these other things happening in your life, these distractions. It can be said that if we can find a type of communicative response of holding on to your life and telling yourself that this is what I deal with, this is what I understand of myself, this is the nature of my character, and bringing that about to the forefront to be seen at all times. What kind of change would that leave within you? What beliefs would happen? What beliefs would appear from you, yeah? So, continually you might find that there is a beginning to this. One that interacts with you and one that defines you. Witnessing that thought, going further along it, noticing that there is a break in mentality where you are present with it. That choice is yours to take if you want to. To direct your attention to something of purpose or love. It's a higher motivator for you. One of the highest motivations is love. Purpose is pretty far up there too. Why don't you consider taking this apart, piece by piece? Nothing too strange about it. Just taking it apart, piece by piece, and finding out, is this something of my own, something that gives me joy? Or is it something other than that? Am I affected by what's happening to me? Or am I detached from it? Affected by something that's happening to you? Well, most would say yes, but get me here. I'm talking about affected in the sense that you're moved by it, emotionally moved. Or are you detached from it? Simply going with the flow. So what is it to be awake? Wakefulness. Are we ever truly awake? Fully. So, in the sense that there is nothing else after that's the end all be all. You reach some sort of Buddhahood and then you are done. That's life. That's where it ends. You might still be breathing, but your life has no purpose. Purpose not being the word I'm looking for. Your life has no meaning, also not the word I'm looking for. But simply, your life has nothing else for you to chase or for you to attach yourself to or for you to comprehend, learn. Life is as it is, just there, final, finito, it. Is there really such an awakening? Or is that just the most common idea of what awakening brings about? Because truly, wouldn't that be wanting to awaken to reach some type of place? Also some sort of attachment to the future or to an illusion. Can it only be found here? a sense of peace, which is more commonly known as being at ease, being free, and also being awake. You don't just hold on to the things that have been brought to you. You make your mind a bit larger. The space a bit larger. The further along you go. If you hold on to it, understanding that this brings, it gets greater, more preferable. So I'm tired comes to mind. Tired of bringing about a change that I'm not enjoying. Not being completely free in my path. Filtering what's being shown. Deciding that this is okay and that's not. It's not because I want to give off the impression that I enjoy some things and I dislike others. No, I'm not trying to give off that impression. It's just, it's natural to feel like something can only be done in a very specific way. And it can be hard to understand that if you, and I mean if you try to bring, let's say recording for instance, into different areas of your life, as many of them as possible, and see if it fits. At first you'll find reasons to say that no, it doesn't fit, it can't fit. But if you persist in that, persist in bringing recording, for instance, into most areas of your life, if you persist in that, you'll find that you'll do a flip. You know, first you thought that, first you were giving yourself reasons for why it doesn't fit. But then after a while, you'll do a flip and you start giving yourself reasons for why it does fit. It doesn't have to be recording. It's only recording. It can be a lot of different things. Choosing to bring things to other areas of your life, making it more part of yourself, you know, more attached to you, to hold you as much as you can. I'm not saying that it's possible to do it with everything, but with a lot. And you would only know if you actually tried it. So what are you sensing? Yeah. What are you giving yourself the chance to be? Here. When you are in understanding of, can I control? Can I develop? Can I find freedom? Can I mend the ideas that are broken into fragments that I've had in my past, and amend them and make them into something that I haven't thrown away, something that I'm using? I think you must give yourself the chance to, you know, be part and finding some sort of freedom. Just making sure that, okay, I am developing this kind of character. I am making it fuller the more that I give to it. But you're not just giving it your own attentiveness. You're being it. It's taking you over. So it's not like a small choice of yours. You had the instance given to you. So be free. Tell yourself, oh, okay, I am what I am. Notice that. What changes come from that? Notice that. Because I could develop the type of mentality that gives me freedom. Freedom to just be. Or I could develop the mentality that allows me to suffer. It seems like an easy choice, but for many it's not. We kind of forget that we have a choice even at times. Not really seeing that, oh, there is more of a structure to this, more of a understanding to this. You can conclude that, am I making this be a part of myself, or can't I find rationality within this? Holding on to my own making. So are you a creative person, right? Do you create what's in front of you? Or are you walking the path that someone else has designed for you to walk on? Of course. Of course you are, right? You know it. You know you're not creating your own path. Well, mostly. You know that mostly. Well, let's say, in the off chance that you actually are creating your path, do you trust in it? Fully so. Not even contemplating, could this go wrong? Just fully so, trusting in it. Do you? And if you don't, then you're still being conditioned. Conditioned to groupthink. Thinking as the group does. I might give you some leeway and say, oh, you had no choice. You are in this company, or you're in this family, or you're in this friend group that demands specific behaviors from you. So I give you some leeway. Being sarcastic, of course. But also a bit understanding. Of course, those things are true. You might be in such or such a group. Though you shouldn't be afraid of going it alone if necessary. And if that's difficult, then at least finding time to be alone. Not necessarily needing to go through life alone, but having time where you're completely alone. Sitting in solitude, walking in solitude, or simply tending to your practice in solitude. Give way for understanding. Give it the best chance that it has, which is space, presence, and time. Understanding of any nature needs those three things to be able to grow into something. Sometimes fast and sometimes very slow. Though if you stay present, you wouldn't notice the time passing. It would just be, to your mind, effortless, just as it should be. A type of activity that just happens. Wu Wei, ever heard of that term? Well, I want to explore it here, right now. I'll come back to it. She might communicate the type of dealing with senses of modular understanding. You communicate what you get. You bring about what you have. It's confronted. You sense it, and it gives you enough space for you to be who you are. Now, to identify yourself as someone with attributes or behaviors or traits, it's limiting to your growth. It's limiting to your expansion. You identifying yourself with ... Whatever you identify yourself with, really. That's why ... Your identification with is limiting you. Your expansion is being limited. Because as long as you identify yourself with something, there are rules that you have to follow. Specific rules. Alright, for example, if you identify yourself as, let's say, a fighter, the rules you need to follow. What does a fighter do? A fighter has courageous, for example. A fighter keeps on going, and a fighter has to have an opponent. So there are some rules that you need to follow. Those were just some. What if you didn't have an opponent? As a fighter, for example, right? You didn't have an opponent. How would you grow when that's necessary for you to be able to identify yourself or be who you are, a fighter? Because a fighter doesn't grow without having something to fight. Or if there is nothing to fight, how can you be yourself and still grow? Also, identifying yourself with something like a fighter, you are removing everything else that you could have been. Everything else. Anything you can think of that is not for a fighter. You're removing that because you identified yourself with a specific thing. You've chosen one thing above all else. And sure, you might have, that might be what you want. But I think that most people haven't really thought of that. That when they identify themselves with something or someone, or they are removing their freedom. their freedom. So I'm changing this a little. You take hold of what you can, right? You give no opportunity for the wrong things to appear. You are direct that way. Quite difficult to deal with for people trying to take you down. You confront everything that is around you. You are not fleeing from it. What choice do you have? You have to. You're a fighter. It's giving yourself away in ways like that and not really moving through to the emptiness of time, but believing that, can I control this? Can I have this? Can I be this? Is in fact more of a sin than it's not. You choose to give yourself away, but you don't have to. Maybe my intention is quite clear, right? Just stay the same. Don't be interrupting yourself. Just stay the same. Keep on going. Find reasons to hold on to what you have. That's not my advice at all. But I'm also not telling you to change. Being attached to that dynamic is what I'm telling you to change. If anything. So, we control our memories these days. We do because we get to choose what dreams we have. Wakeful dreams. Think of everything that you watch every week or every day if you watch things that often. It's curated to your interests. And it becomes your memories. I'm not saying you have full and total control, but you damn well have a lot of control over what becomes a memory for you. Let's say you're into anime. That becomes, today, so easy to curate all of your attention. Today it's easy to focus all your attention onto one thing or a couple of things. So let's say you're into anime then. You can decide for that to be what's in your memory every week for years. And it wouldn't be difficult. We're not just spontaneous anymore. We're creating things to be very specific, planned for us, curated for us. What are we losing? What are we losing when we're doing this? When we are creating things to be a very specific way? What are we not understanding? Okay. So witness. Come and comprehend. Just deal with things as they appear. You find out what you give, what you choose to allow yourself the space to have. You might find that that form of communicating is of his own choice. Good. You're not witnessing the changes that you have because you want them to be there. You're finding them because you're not doing anything else. Because you're not talking to yourself or believing in yourself. You are talking to others. Not about you. About them. They have control over your life. They understand who they are, and you don't understand who you are. You're giving away your power. Because when you're alone, you get to think. And then, yes, you're dealing with your life. You're taking care of your life. When you're alone and you're thinking, even if you're thinking the most negative thoughts out there, you're trying to take control over your life. And in a sense, you are, piece by piece, right? Taking control over your life. But it's when you're together with others, when you are not alone, that you don't get to process your thoughts anymore. You don't get to process your thoughts anymore. You get to process their thoughts. It becomes about them. You're processing their thoughts. And you're telling yourself that your thoughts comes second. You come second. You are not as important. Sure, life is a give and take. Sometimes, allow yourself to come a bit second. You don't have to be a sociopath. Sometimes allow yourself to come second, but all the time, I think that's what makes some people want to stay alone or be very introverted, because they find that they have a lot of things to process, and when they're with others, they don't have the time to process their thoughts. But no, that's not it. Learn social skills. Learn social skills that allow you to be able to express yourself and your thoughts, to be able to process your thoughts. Especially when you have negative thoughts, a lot of negative thoughts that you need to process. Not saying go around and whine and be doom and gloom, but being analytical about your negative thoughts. Where are they coming from and how can you deal with them? If you're a person, right, an individual, not showing your individuality and only being in groupthink will have you stagnate, not growing in life. So you need to express yourself truly, fully. Come to give yourself reasons to talk about what you're thinking. To think out loud. But in a sharing way, not in a not in a very, not in a, not in a taking way where you're taking energy from them. No, in a sharing. You're sharing of your own thoughts so that they can learn as well, not just taking what they're saying as the end all be all. So we socialize, right? Most of us, now and then. It's just that the way we socialize is usually, for many of us, in a way where we let ourselves stay in the background. So that when we come home later and we're to continue processing our thoughts, the thoughts that we had when we were alone at first. So we had thoughts that we needed to process when we were alone. Then we went out, met some friends, met some people, started socializing, but we weren't thinking about ourselves and the thoughts that we need to process at all. We weren't bringing them up. Not to the level that we could. And then we go back and we think that we can just continue where we were left off. But no, we have to restart the process, a lot of it. Because there's been a lot of time that's went by, so we don't really remember what we're thinking. So it's like we're thinking the same thoughts over and over again, and we're not moving forward in our thinking. We're being stuck where we are in our thinking. But if you take the thoughts that you have in your solitary environment to your social environment and then back to your solitary environment, then you're continually thinking, you're continually processing, you're growing. You're not restarting your thought processes over and over again. You're continuing forward. Also, you're sharing when you're being social, you're sharing about something that seems important to you because you're thinking about it all the time, right? So it seems to be profound to you. And there's a chance it would be profound to them as well. So skip the chit chat. Give it a little space. Chit chat can be fun, humoristic and such. But if that's the whole focus, either the chit chat, small talk, or them, if that's the whole focus, then you're not moving forward. You're only moving as far as they bring you. And you're not stuck with them. You're not staying with them all the time. So, in a sense, you're being left behind. And it's all your fault. And with that, I mean, it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility.